I, 23 female, have a twin, Angela. Angela had leukemia as a child. She's been cancer-free since we were 10, thankfully. But since she was sick a lot as a child, I was basically invisible to our parents. Angela and I were still best friends then, but my parents, grandparents, aunts and uncles forgot I existed within that time. They sent me to a boarding school from age 8 to 14. I understand that they had to send me away when Angela was undergoing treatment and they couldn't take care of me. But it was excuse after excuse about why I couldn't come home for 4 years after Angela was cancer-free. Eventually, they brought me back when I was 14, but I was very antisocial at that point and just stayed in my room all the time. I spoke to Angela occasionally, but we weren't close anymore because we'd been separated for a while. Last night, I was at my parents' house with my boyfriend. My parents showed my boyfriend the photo album of Angela and I as kids. I have some as a baby, but not much after the age of 2. My boyfriend asked if there was another photo album because he wanted to see what I looked like growing up. My mom said there aren't any more pictures of me, but he can just look at the pictures of Angela since we're identical, and that's the same thing. I got quite angry at this and said we're two separate people and she should just say they weren't interested in taking photos of me when I was growing up because they had other things to worry about. But looking at Angela isn't a replacement of the pictures I don't have. My mum said I should have sent more pictures of myself while at boarding school so that she'd have stuff to show. I said, wow, one would think the responsibility of having pictures of a child growing up would be on the parents. When my boyfriend left, we had a bigger conversation about this. My mum said she felt like that earlier conversation showed that I resented her and my dad for that period when they were taking care of Angela. I admitted that I do kind of resent them for that, especially the part where they took 4 years to bring me back home after Angela wasn't sick anymore. My mom said they reasoned that they felt like I was well settled there and having a good childhood, and they didn't want to disrupt my life by bringing me back. I was shocked to hear that and said, having a good childhood at a boarding school far from home? Are you delusional? My mom has been crying since, and my dad is angry that I made her upset over something that happened so long ago. He said that I wouldn't understand how hard that was for them until I became a parent myself and that I should apologize to my mom for talking to her like that. I admit my tone was harsh, but I don't think I said anything wrong. Am I the idiot? Definitely not the idiot. Your parents never took the time to ask you back then if you liked being at that school. How would they know about you being well settled in? They also didn't feel like they missed something of your life. Saying crap like, look at the picture of our other daughter is basically the same, just shows how ignorant they are about your childhood. I wonder if emotionally they felt that way, that they didn't miss OP because they had basically the same child home. Parents like this who ignore the throwaway child and focus on the golden child will fully expect throwaway to care for them in their old age. Dump them in a government care home and don't bother saying bye. They didn't care for you, why should you care for them? A very important fact to consider is that they already had the same child at home. Good catch. OP, so time, even before they sent you to boarding school, they had fewer photos of you and always favoured her. This is further proof that they somehow favoured her more than you. Are you in therapy? Maybe talk to someone about it, and don't let your family push you around like this. And if you become a parent yourself, you will probably be even more like, how could they do this to me? Exactly. Your mom is crying because she knows you're right. She should have to sit in that discomfort. Above all, what reason was there to keep you at boarding school for 4 years after your sister was well and the burden of caretaking was gone? Your dad knows it too. What you had there was a come-to-Jesus talk with your mom, telling her the truth. Let the dawning realization settle upon them both that it was a crap time for you and it alienated you from your family, and you are the product of their decision. My teen male parents gave my sister teen, brother young teen, and me nature names, more specifically water nature names. My sister is Ocean, I'm Cove, and my brother is River. They wanted our names to have a theme without being matchy with the same initial, so we got our names. The story was told to us when we were little, and my parents were proud of the names they gave us. Back when we were all stuck at home, my parents started to express regret about their choices for us. They told us over dinner one night that they wished they'd given us better names and apologized for making us live with the names we were given. A few months after that apology, my mom and dad told us they wanted us to be Elizabeth, sister, James, me, and Michael, brother. They said since we were kids and weren't in college yet and nobody had their license at that point, it would be the best time to do it. We all said we didn't want to change our first names. My dad looked into whether they could do it when we said no, and all the answers he got pointed to a firm no. But it was also unusual to change your older kids' first names, so they went ahead and tried anyway. But once we were asked if we wanted different names, they were told no. My parents brought it up a lot to us afterward. My brother asked why they wanted to name him Michael, and he said the name was crappy. They told him Michael was a timeless name that would age well, and gave him some nickname choices. He said he hated it. So they asked if he would consider Charles instead, which he said was an even bigger no. Our parents focused really hard on him for a while because he had asked the question about the name, so they figured he was the most open. So far, none of us have agreed to the name change. I told my parents that I know they regret the names, but we're all used to and like our names and don't want to go for more tedious and common names. My parents argued that in the future we'll regret it and we'd have to pay for it ourselves when we're adults, and we realised having weird names doesn't age well. I asked why they couldn't let us get there if we ever did. They said we should be thinking more of our futures, and they accused me of having a nasty attitude because I said James was as bad to me as Cove is to them now. They told me to look online, and I did, and I saw a lot of hate for our names, but I told them it still didn't change my mind. My parents said we should respect them enough as parents to allow this and that we're all being disrespectful. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. I think Cove is a kick-butt name. Also, it's wild to me that they just suggested names they wanted you to change to and didn't ask if you had a name you'd rather be called. If you're worried about the future, you could always add a more traditional middle name, which you choose, and then you'll have the option of going by your middle name if you prefer. It sounds to me like the only ones embarrassed of your names are the people who gave them to you all. Sounds like they've got Bertha's remorse. My mother decided to name my sisters and me after the names of various plants and trees. So I also have an unusual name, but I love it, and I wouldn't change it for the world. Sometimes my name gets me unusual looks when I'm called at the GP's office, but I get a lot more positive remarks about it by far. What would their response be if you said you would agree to a name change on condition that they changed their names too because you and your siblings had collectively decided that you didn't like them? What the heck were they thinking? Not the idiot, and I'd be sure to take possession of things like birth certificates ASAP. I, 29 male, lost my mom in 2021, which left me, my dad, 56, and my brother, 30. I still live in our house. My brother left the house after his 26th birthday. My dad says if we move out, we're welcome to move back, and I reiterated that to my brother. He's found love, and we, Dad and I, love her. Well, a few nights ago, we had dinner and had them over. My brother asked my dad if, when he moved on, who would get the house. My dad said it's going to both of you. I'm okay with it, but my brother thinks it should go to him because he and his fiancée are trying to have a family. He said I could stay there, but I need to pay rent to him. I strongly disagree with this. I'm gay, so it's not likely for me to have a family unless I have a partner. My brother wants to move into the master bedroom and wants to make rooms to fit what he sees fit for his future family, such as making his old room into a kid's room, forming an office in the grandma's former room, and having a room for storage. Mind you, there are only 4 bedrooms in the house: master, his, old grandma, and mine. I waited till my dad left the room and his fiancée went to the restroom to talk to him. I told him, "Hey, what's up with you making plans for the house?" He said because he's the oldest, the house will automatically go to him. I told him no, he's not entitled to the house because he's older, and Dad is still alive, so he's got a while to wait. But I also said I have more right to the house because I still live there, and I told him I know everything about the house, where we pay for it, how much we pay, but he thinks because he's going to have a family, he deserves it. Am I right for telling him that? Holy crap, not the idiot. Your brother is a selfish piece of crap in my opinion, who doesn't care about you. The audacity to say you will have to pay rent. I would have resorted to violence immediately after he said that. I was sorry. Screw your brother and make sure you make him pay half the fair value of the house if he really wants it. The loser wants to start a family but must rely on Daddy's house. Your brother is being absurd. There's no way he should get the whole house because he's starting a family. It's quite rude to you and your father of him to be so presumptive. I would add that if he's planning on waiting out your father's life to secure home ownership, he's in for a rude awakening. Your father is only 56. If he lives to 80, your brother will be 55 when he finally owns the property. Not a great plan. The idea of waiting for a parent to die so you can get the inheritance is mind-boggling. Anyone like that should be left $1 in the will and nothing else. Does your brother understand that your dad could reasonably live another 40 years? Your brother needs to find his own place to live like a normal person. Tell your brother he's free to buy you out of the house after your dad dies in 40 years. Cheese and rice are the entitlement here. My wife, 59, and I, 62 male, have 3 kids, 31 male, 26 male, 24 female. But they never talk to me or their mother at all. They never call us, text us, come to visit, or simply ask how we're doing. And my wife and I both really hate this because we've been great parents. We both get that they're all adults, but they could at least say hi, even just once a month, but they never do. It's incredibly hurtful as a father, and my wife feels the same way. We love our children, and we did the best we could to raise them just to be completely ignored by them in return. If we were bad parents who did something horrible to them, I'd understand, but we were never bad parents, so both my wife and I just don't get this. We decided that we wanted to plan a dinner and invite all 3 of them over so we could be a happy family again, because we missed them, but they ignored our invitations. My wife was sad about this, but I was mad at this point. All we wanted was for us to be a family, and they all rejected us. We raised them, gave them a home, food to eat, a bed to sleep on, and paid for their education, healthcare, and clothes. And in return, this is what we got. Are my wife and I the idiots? Sir, all 3 kids ignore both of you. Come on, I know something happened that caused them to cut contact. Bad parents rarely recognize or acknowledge that they were bad parents. The fact that all of your children went no contact, that's pretty damn telling right there. Usually it's 1 or 2 kids while the golden child stays close. But if every single child goes no contact, that tells me there were major issues across the board that you are pretending weren't real problems. Dude, you met the bare minimum requirements of having kids and housing and feeding them, but if all 3 ignore you and don't respond to your invitations, then you might need to spend some time reflecting on why. Have you tried to ask them calmly and in a non-accusatory way why they don't contact you guys? And have you communicated verbally that it would mean a lot for them to spend time with you? Or maybe you did nothing except for the bare minimum. How is your relationship with their significant others? Because I noticed you said you only invited the 3 kids. I find it hard to believe that all your kids are single. I also noticed you wanted kids' night to be a happy family together again. If this is a common occurrence and their significant others are always left out, this is your problem. You're not accepting and respecting the relationships they're in. This is a surefire way for a child to go no contact by treating significant others horribly. I have a different take. If none of your kids even responded to your invite, then there are 2 possibilities. You did something to your kids that makes them not want to contact you, or you did a crappy job raising your kids and they're all idiots. OP needs to tell us the real story of how they treated their kids. Feeding, clothing, and a roof over their heads are basic necessities. At the weekend, my uncle passed away. I hadn't seen him in a few years, but when I was a child, we used to be quite close, and I used to be really close to his children. It was obviously upsetting for me to hear. I scheduled a meeting with my manager at work to tell them what had happened and explained that I would need time off for the funeral. When I met with my manager, she said it was company policy to take at least 3 days off for a bereavement, but she asked if I thought I would need a bit longer. I said I wasn't sure at the moment, and my manager asked if I would prefer a week. I said as long as it was okay with her, then yes, a week would be good, and it would allow me to see family before the funeral and offer help. I mentioned this to my girlfriend, and she mentioned that she didn't think I was that upset to need a week off and asked if I was holding up okay. I told her I was upset, but not completely broken since my uncle and I hadn't been close in years. She asked if I would be spending the week with family, and I told her I'd spend a few days with family, but that I'd probably take a couple of days for myself and just stay home and have some time alone. She accused me of misleading my work to get more time off, but I pointed out it was my manager who suggested a week, not me. I would have accepted 3 days. She said I was exploiting a family tragedy to get extra annual leave. I disagreed with her and said it's hardly like I'm using my time off for a holiday and that I shouldn't have to spend it all with family for it to be acceptable. But she said what I did was horrible. Am I the idiot for exploiting a family tragedy? Not the idiot. She accused me of misleading my work to get more time off. Excuse me, what? Is she your boss or in any way impacted by your time off? Who gives a crap? Take whatever time they'll give you. Let me guess. When a family is gone for the evening on Halloween and leaves a big bowl of candy on a table for the trick-or-treaters, you're the guy who takes 2 giant handfuls or more. I mean, they offered it, right? You are the idiot. You're taking advantage of a boss who is trying to be kind and accommodating. You're exploiting an offer of time for bereavement to use it for personal time off. Morals and ethics aren't hard to have. Do better. Jesus, what's wrong with you people? How you grieve is how you grieve. If you need to spend time with your family, take a few days off for yourself. You'll just do that. It's as if we don't get gaslit enough by the companies we work for. LOL. OP, your work offered it, so clearly they can accommodate it, and it's not your girlfriend's business. I'm an introvert and would need time to process and decompress alone. Your girlfriend sounds like a total harpy. Your uncle just passed and she's angry and jealous you get bereavement leave. Watch out. She might call your work and complain that you're not grieving enough to satisfy her morbid idea of what is the right or wrong way to get those extra 2 days off.